Texan here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by my good friend, former British title holder and world title challenger, Brian Rose. Brian, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm really good.
Glad to hear it. We haven't spoken since, I think, before the Sergio Martinez fight. But we're here predominantly to talk about the fact that you've now hung up the gloves. You've retired, we heard this week. But a year or more than a year, in fact, since your last fight, why is now the right time to retire?
It's been a hard decision to make, and if I'm honest, I was going to have a farewell fight in Blackpool, but I couldn't even get up for that. You know, I tried to train. I had Bobby trying to tell me what to do, and I just thought I can't have him tell me what to do for the next 12 weeks again. So, it wasn't a nice feeling knowing that I had to diet for 12 weeks because, as you know, I do everything properly. You know, I'd never get in the ring unfit or out of shape. So I just felt, I wasn't enjoying training anymore, which I've always loved. I was busy with other things. I've got a bar and grill in Blackpool. I've got my gym, which I'm helping the community with, getting kids off the streets. And I just felt I was so busy. Training was coming third. Training wasn't a priority anymore. And you can't, there's a saying that you can't play with boxing, and it's true. And it just wasn't there anymore. The fire wasn't there. I absolutely love fighting. I was put on this earth to fight. I really do believe that. But the fire in my belly's not there anymore.
That's good enough. It's good that you're aware enough to realise that, and not put yourself or anyone else in potential danger. I think
Yeah.
I don't like to be a doom monger or give up on stuff, but I don't think we're going to see you against Scott Fitzgerald now. I'm finally giving up
No,
on it.
mate. It is one of my only regrets, but that was never my fault. I did organise that fight twice, and it just, for whatever reason, it didn't come off. I wish Scott Fitzgerald all the best in whatever he's going to do next, because I don't know if he's still got issues or not. And like I say, I'm retiring happy. I'm actually at peace. I've got a lovely family. I've got 2 businesses. I'm striving, whatever I do next in my career and the next chapter, I'll be the best at, because my work ethic is high. I'm the hardest worker in the room, and whatever I decide to do next, I'll be good at, and if not the best at. So, it could be worse, and that's why I wish Scott Fitzgerald, and, there's no regrets, and I don't hate anybody in the sport, even managers that have had me over, promoters. You name it. It'll probably come out over the next year or so. I'm able to talk now, but I don't hate them. It's all a learning curve, and they've all got me to where I am now.
Now, you won the British title against Prince Aaron, of course, and quite quickly secured the Lonsdale Belt outright as well, ahead of that world title challenge. Looking back now, was that you at your very best, your prime physical, mental?
100%. My best days were when I was 26, 27, fighting for the British title. Prince Aaron was the start of it at Robin Park, and then defending my British title at Winter Gardens in Blackpool were some of the best memories of my life, including my children being born. Honestly, I had some amazing nights. And I was talking about today to the Gazette, and Blackpool Football Club were in the Premiership. I was British champion. I just felt like we bounced off each other. I had Ian Holloway jumping in the ring after the fight. They were just amazing nights and I gave the fans, nights that they'll never get back. And I do believe that I put Blackpool back on the map since Brian London. I was the next British champion after Brian London, 50 years on. I know the family really well. And it was just a pleasure to be able to put Blackpool back on the map and achieve what Brian London achieved.
And you beat Chris Carslaw, Sam Webb. I'm not using any notes here as well, so I'm quite proud of myself. And Maxwell, who'd defeated you on the way up in quite a big upset at the time. How much did it mean to you that was one of your defences on the way to the Lonsdale Belt outright?
Yeah, you know what? It played with my mind for a long time mentally. It gave me demons, and I've had that a couple of times in my career, 2 or 3 times where I've not been able to sleep at night until I get something done. Jason Rushton was one of them, and that's the reason I got beat by Maxwell. They're all defining moments, and the reason I got to the top was because of those moments. Jason Rushton being one, and then obviously Maxwell But the first thing I said when I won the British title was, "Oh, what I defend against him." And people see that as an easy defence, but to me, it wasn't, because psychologically, it was the hardest thing I've ever done. Jumping back in the ring with someone that knocked me out cold. And then the third one was probably Carson Jones. That was they were the biggest demons, because it was towards the end of my career and there was no way back if I'd have got beat that night in Hull. So walking out with bags on my feet, I remember it raining and thinking, what the fuck am I doing here again? I just thought, why am I doing this to myself again? It's another rematch, someone that's knocked me out. And I did it, and I revived my career.
And coming back from those defeats, I know it's hard to talk about, but how does that compare from coming back from the Jason Rushton experience? Because while it was a victory, it's obviously not the way you'd want a fight to end.
Yeah, I think it's character, The person I am is, I'm known in Blackpool for being a nice. I'm known in the boxing world for being a nice lad. You ask me who the nicest lad in boxing is, I say Anthony Collar. You ask Anthony Collar, he'll say me. So they're the type of people we are, and I think it's character, and me being knocked out did not affect me as much as the Jason Rushton incident. It really did affect me, and I'm still thinking about it sometimes. But one thing I don't do is blame myself anymore. I do understand that boxing is a business, and if it didn't happen to him, it would have happened to me. We're both trying to hurt each other, but at the same time, you never expect that to happen after a fight. It's I wish him all the best, and I just it's devastating what happened, but at the same time, it is the sport that we do.
And you were, as I say, on a great tear at the time. You secured the Lonsdale Belt. You were beating people like Joe Chimalsing. That was a really underrated win on your record as well. And then you get Demetrius Andrade. Now, there's got to be easier fights for a world title. He was unbeaten.
It was on my spine then when you said that name.
He was unbeaten. He still is. Still performing at the top level as well. Very, very accomplished fighter. I guess there was no way around it because you were WBO #1. So were you obviously go into the fight with the belief you can win, but were you kind of, shit, there's easier champions in my division?
Never. At the time, it was unheard of. So like anyone else, I know he was world amateur champion, but I was a confident fighter. If I won and I did something great, and I go on and I think I can't be beaten. At that time, I honestly didn't think I'd be beat by anyone. I went over there with belief. I had a choice. Eddie Hearn sat down with me and he said to me, "Why don't you just wait for him to be stripped, and then you can fight someone that's number 30 odd in the world?" And I said no. Looking back on it, mate, I should have snatched his hand off. I do regret that a little bit. I'm not going to sit here and lie, but I'm a fighter at the end of the day. I'm a warrior, and I was number 2 in the world. He was my manager's challenger, so why shouldn't I fight him? And that's why boxing's changed now. You don't see that anymore. You don't see kids winning a British title and defending it outright to own it. I've got my British title up there. I'm so proud of owning it, and that's how every British fighter should be. They shouldn't be winning a British title and then going on to fight for an IBF European. Get that belt, own it outright, and then if you clear up domestically, you know how good you are then, because domestically there's some great fighters.
So Andrade himself, although the result didn't go your way, do you get any kind of pride from having shared a ring with someone of that level?
Of course, I do want him to step in the ring with the likes of Canelo and the Triple Gs. I don't know what he's doing now, but I wanted him to get those big names, and he hasn't got those big names yet. And Brian London was known for fighting Muhammad Ali. So Demetrius Andrade could have been great. I mean, he's still got time, but it made me look a bit shit, the fact that I got beat by Demetrius. At the time, I know how good he is, but Mayweather was my way at the time. I think Cotto, Lara, and Canelo, I think they were the 4 at light middleweight at that time. And I just thought, I wish I could have got Mayweather, because, yeah, I'd have got my head boxed off. But, looking back on it, I could say, yeah, I could do talks about fighting Mayweather.
You have a few exhibitions. Yeah,
that's it. Well, that's the only way I would come back from retirement, fighting a YouTuber.
Well, let's get onto that in a bit, because that could be a lucrative way forward. After the loss to Andrade, obviously you moved up to middleweight and you still had some good wins, but it was kind of hit and miss a little bit. Why do you think you weren't able to recapture the same form once you'd moved up? Was it just an age thing?
I think I was although I struggled for light middleweight, when I did the weight properly, I think I was a force to be reckoned with. I was big for the weight. Yeah, I wasn't a concussive puncher, but I know I was very strong inside. A lot of people after the fight would say, you know, you're so strong. We all, you know, because you can't punch, because you're not concussive, you don't expect that strength. And when I moved up to middleweight, I'll be honest, I got lazy with the weight. I feel like I got complacent, and I just thought because of my age, I couldn't make light middle anymore. I think there was a couple of factors. Age, I was never a natural middleweight. I felt like I was in with bigger kids when I moved up to middleweight. They just seemed so much bigger. So, like you say, I had some good wins, but I really do believe I could have stayed at a light middleweight a little bit longer.
We'll talk about the future in a minute, but one thing I did want to ask you, you were renowned during your career for how good your jab was. And I guess, first of all, before we talk about current fighters, what did you work on it more than other punches? Was it just the first punch that you worked on because it's the foundation? Was it a particular trainer that kind of honed it with you? What's the secret behind that jab?
My old amateur coach, he died in lockdown, sadly. Andy Sudner. I have spoke about it on my Instagram and stuff, and you know, it's a massive loss to me, and that hasn't helped the situation with retiring. And I know I am, you know, I should have retired 5 years ago, but I found it really difficult. But that has helped. Andy Sudner not being here anymore, even though Bobby was my coach. Andy Sudner was always in the background and always had a little chat to me. But the jab, I hurt my right hand as an amateur. And I couldn't use it for 6 months. And I was trying to get off training. I was like, I can't train. He was like, you can train. So he literally made me use my jab, spar with good kids as well. He didn't like go easy on me. Made me spar, have the hardest sparring, but just with one hand. And it just made my jab unbelievable. And then it just put me in good stead for the future. Everything off my jab, everything come off my jab. It was, and that's 6 months of constantly using my jab is why my jab was so good. And at one point, I know it was probably the best in Britain. It was unbelievable.
Well, that leads neatly to the next question. Who currently has the best jab in Britain? Now you've relinquished the mantle.
God, give me some names.
I'm trying to think who's got a really good jab. Lyndon Arthur.
Lyndon Arthur's very good, yeah. Lyndon Arthur. I don't want to
Daniel Dubois, Joe Joyce, actually, both of them.
Yeah, Joe Joyce, Lyndon Arthur. I think the thing with a jab, my jab was always the same. I've never flicked. Actually sparred, it was in boxing news, actually sparred with a lad called Tim. Oh, he was from America, and he was Mayweather's main sparring partner. And I sparred with him, and he actually compared my jab to Mayweather. He said, he actually said my jab was better than Mayweather's. It's mad, this. But Mayweather's variety was better. So he'd flick it from there, he'd throw a solid one. He'd have different variety of jabs. It was like, in terms of a basic jab, my jab was better. I was like, over the move it. Tim, I can't remember his name. Tim Coleman.
Oh, yeah, I remember Tim Coleman.
Yeah. And it was in the boxing news. It was in the boxing news saying that he quoted that. So I was like, I'm so glad he said that because it makes me look great.
It might have been me that interviewed him. I used to interview him quite a lot in the boxing news days, and obviously I was around in that era. So yeah, maybe. But yeah, I believe you. It's probably me.
I'm not lying. But that's better than that British title up there. Someone saying that Mayweather. I'm better than jab than Mayweather.
Amazing, yeah. So you've got the British title still up there? Have you? What, in trophy cabinet?
Well, it's just on top of it. Don't show it.
Yeah. Bring it in. Oh, look at that.
See up there.
Beautiful.
So I've got a central area, the British, the WBO, and then the English title there.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
So something I can give my kid. I've got 3 kids, so they can have one each.
Who do you think, I mean, you might not know who's already won some of the titles, but no one's ever done area, English, British, European, world. I think Dan Aziz is fighting this weekend for the European. and he's won all the ones up to that point.
Yeah.
But is there anyone out there you see in terms of young talent that you think there's someone who could win all the belts? I know politics get in the way, but anyone whose talent impresses you?
Well, my plan is to get my manager's license, and I would suggest any young kid doing that, because it's like going to school. It's like starting from nursery, go to primary school, then you go to high school, then college. It's the same sort of stuff. Central area was my first 10-rounder, but I had to lead up with the 8-rounders. I can't think of any fighters that I would suggest that, but I would suggest any fighter to do that. Why wouldn't you? You know, it puts you in good stead. You see so many like what's his name? I'm so bad with names. Josh Kelly.
Oh,
Josh
yeah.
Kelly. He was never ready for them sort of fights, but look at him now, because he's had other fights. He should have done that in the first place. You know, he should have started with the British, not fighting for Europeans, and you know, fighting at an international level that was too high for him. So I would suggest anyone doing that. And I didn't know that, by the way. I would have stayed on a bit longer and tried to win a European against, like, I don't know, someone that I just get shipped in.
Well, that's it. You wouldn't make the same mistake twice, would you? Fight number 30. No, I want number 1.
I know you see me making a comeback tomorrow.
Yeah, and it'll be all my fault. So when we were kind of arranging this interview, you were already giving an insight into how busy you are post boxing. You've got a couple of kids. Just tell us a little bit. I'm sorry, 3 kids. My apologies. Just tell us a little bit about them. How old are they, and what, you know, are they into boxing at all?
Yeah, so I've been with Danielle 18 years. I met her when she was 17. She used to pay for my train fare up to Manchester because I had no money at the time. I was 20, and I literally rang her one day and said, listen, I met a guy called Bobby. He's going to give me a flat in Openshaw, a rough part of Manchester. And I moved there that day, and then I'd go back at weekends. She'd pay for my train fare. And then obviously we stayed together at 25. We had Oscar. He's 11 now. A lot of people know Oscar in the boxing world, so I was on Sky at the time. So he got a lot of mentions.
Named after De La Hoya?
Yeah, named after Oscar De La Hoya. I love Oscar De La Hoya. I'm a bit unsure of him now, like, but he actually
too late
followed
now.
me.
You've given him the name, so.
Oh mate, he actually followed me on Instagram quite recently, about a year ago. I was absolutely over the moon. I've just got a random follow off him. I've got Penelope that's 8, and I've got my young'un. He's 3 years old.
And are they into the boxing? Any of them?
Oscar, not so much. He's more into animals and commuters, and I don't mind that. Penelope's a dancer, and I think Fraser's he's the ginger one, and he's a bit crazy. I think he'll be into the boxing.
He'll be the new Canelo.
Yeah, he can be. Wouldn't mind that.
Not the one named Oscar, but you got the boxing in the youngest one instead. So what is the plan now? You said you're going to try and get your manager's license. Which shouldn't be too hard. I think you've got to have another license for 3 years, is it? You've had obviously a boxing license for a lot longer than
18,
that.
18.
Yeah. So aside from that, what else do you see in your future?
So I've got the gym that I've had my gym for about 6-7 years, and I'll be honest with you, I probably shouldn't have set this gym up while I was still training for fights, because it was a bit of a hindrance. But again, no regrets. I've got a bar and grill, Lions Bar and Grill. I've just opened that with my brother, and that's seasonal. So when Blackpool gets busy in season, it'll be really busy. It's a sports bar, so I've got memorabilia up, and we actually got it open for the England games. So we had a good few a bit of money while the England games were on. I've got the gym, so I try and help the community. I run courses, so I get schools in, I get homes in. There's a lot of homes in Blackpool, like bad kids' homes, and I get all them in. I just try and help kids in the community, but obviously helping kids, there's money in it as well. So it's a bonus, you know. It's not just, I used to do things for free, but now I can actually charge, because of, at the end of my career, it's the only way I can earn money. So people understand that now. But I think doing that volunteer work when I was younger, and going into schools for free, taking my belts, I think it's put me in good stead, because you know, a lot of people have come back now and said, listen, we've got money now, we can pay you. They send schools to my gym, and it's really working. I'm at the Blackpool Sports Centre, so it's in a sports centre, and I work alongside the council. And the Blackpool Sports Centre have been great with me. You know, that's what they want. They need an ambassador like myself to get kids off the streets, stop these kids running around with knives, and that's what I'm aiming to do.
Oh, brilliant. Now, the standard kind of last two questions in any retirement interview, and I think I've got an idea of what the answers are going to be, but I'm going to ask them anyway. What was your proudest moment in boxing?
Probably winning the British title. Yeah, but in terms of achievement, definitely winning the British title. And then obviously second was when I achieved the chance to fight for British for the world title against Maxwell. That was an amazing night. But I feel like the thing I'm proudest most about, and this is in you. You know, you're born with this. The proudest thing I can honestly say is coming back from the defeats that I've had. You know, I have had it hard. You know, the Carson Jones when I come back, even get the way I got beat up for that world title. You know, I came back from it. Jason Rushton put him in a coma, and it affected me. People will never know what I went through to get back in the ring. And when I got back in the ring, I got knocked out myself. So I'm proud of myself for the stuff that I went through. And the way I come back from it, and I came back from it strong as well. I didn't come back a weak fighter; it made me strong. So you know that's what I try and drum into my amateurs. You know, I've got amateurs at the gym now, and some of them are going to be good, but they're not. We won't know how good they are until they taste defeat. So it's all right them winning every week and looking great, and you know we don't know until they get knocked on the floor, because that shows character. And that shows the real man and the real person, the real fighter that you are. So I'm proud. That's my proud. I'm proud of being tough and being able to come back from diversity. The belts are just a bonus.
Good stuff. And who is the best, either in a proper fight or in sparring? Who's the best you've ever shared a ring with?
It's got to be Andrade. Andrade. I've sparred with Kell Brook. He was class. I sparred with Kell in his prime. He fucked my nose up. So yeah.
Cheers, Kel.
Yeah, thanks, Kel. Yeah, Kel Brook was so accurate. I didn't find him concussive. He was a bit lighter than me, but so accurate and so fast. So Kel Brook or Andrade.
Brilliant. Mate, really appreciate your time and really appreciate covering your career as well. It's been a pleasure. Lots of great moments. Really enjoyed it. And very best of luck for the future. Let's do this, you know, maybe a bit more often, because I'm sure you'll still be keeping an eye on the sport.
Yeah, definitely. I don't mind doing that at all. And you know what? It keeps my foot in and helps me mentally still talking about the sport. So yeah, if you get in touch every so often, I'll do this for you, no problem.
Brilliant. All right, mate. Well, you have a good weekend, and let's speak soon.
Yeah.
Take care, Brian.
Happy retirement.
Yeah, cheers.